What's up, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite New York Jets subscription podcast, Badlands. I'm your host, Joe Caporoso. Sunday AM coffee. Got to keep, some of the regular episodes rolling around all these emergency podcasts and all the news that's been dropping. It's been a very full week, and it's going to be another very full week. But I wanted to keep this series rolling where we talk about different key players in the Jets roster, their career to date, their expected role going forward. First episode in this series, we covered Garrett Wilson. Today, I am going to talk Breece Hall, a guy that I'm always surprised by, sort of the mixed bag of feelings that the fan base seems to have on him, but we'll get into that a little more. I do want to talk at the top a little bit about mental wealth here as we come to the end of January. We are still partnering with our good friends Magic Mind, and we have a really nice offer and opportunity where they are now bundling their mental clarity shots in the morning, their sleep shots for better sleep at night. For me, as someone who has been podcasting 71,000 times a week, I find the extra sleep critically important, and I find the extra boost in the morning also critically important. I've been using Magic Mind throughout the season and into the off season every day, and I've found it very effective, which is why for the month of January, we are getting an offering 45% off their bundle with the link that you will see at the bottom of this episode that gets you both the focus shots and the mental wellness that comes with that and the sleep shots that you can take at night. Magic Mind, time release caffeine in the morning, not a replacement for coffee, helping you get that extra sleep at night. 100% safe product, great ingredients, mushrooms organically grown in California. Big fan. I've been using it for a long time. I know I've talked a bit about the morning shots, and now to be able to get the bundle with the sleep shots as well, check out the link in the bio. Breece Hall, New York Jets starting running back, heading into his fourth year. It's interesting when you look at the top line stats because there's not the season yet that jumps off the page, and that's been for a multitude of reasons. His first year, only plays 7 games, has that season-ending injury in Denver, crippling, very depressing when it happened. 463 yards, 5.8 yards per carry. Last year, 994 yards, 2 years ago, 2023, 994 yards, 4.5 yards a carry, played every game. This past year, only played 16 games, so missed one. 876 yards, 4.2 yards per carry. Don't love the yards per carry trajectory there, going from 5.8 to 4.5 to 4.2. Receiver, first year, 19 receptions on 31 targets, 1 receiving touchdown, 218 yards. 2023, 95 targets, 76 receptions. Excellent target to reception ratio, 591 yards, 4 touchdowns. A lot of those came in the stretch run where Nate Hackett suddenly realized Breece Hall could catch the football. Last year, only 57 catches on 76 targets. Still a very good target to reception ratio. 483 yards, 3 receiving touchdowns. His yards per catch did bounce up last year from 7.8 to 8.5. So, Breece was a guy that was supposed to be, along with Christian McCaffrey, like the best player in fantasy football this year. We thought this was going to be a Breece Hall-centric offense, and that never really happened. This offense was a lot more pass-happy than all of us expected, and I think that was to the Jets and Aaron Rodgers' detriment. They never seemed to throw him the football enough. This has been just a persistent problem. Breece Hall is the most electric when he could get him out in space, and he does so much damage in the passing game, and yet it felt like so many weeks, like it's like 4 targets, 3 targets, 2 targets. For him to drop 19 targets year over year, it's baffling to me. And it was just an inexcusable low target amount. This is a guy who should always be getting around 100 targets every season if he's being used properly. I get some of the fan frustration with him at times. I think Breece was banged up as hell down the stretch last year. And I guess to his credit, maybe to his detriment, played through the pain a little bit. There's certain times in certain games where you're like, the juice doesn't look like there. Is he like really healthy? Like the burst isn't there. And then next week, like he catches like a dump off and turns it into like a 60-yard like scamper that sets up a touchdown. You're like, whoa, why are we doing this more often? So I don't love how the Jets have used Breece the last 2 years. Shout out, Nate Hackett, and then to a little bit Todd Downing. I don't love how Rodgers ran the offense last year. I don't think it maxed what he could bring. I'd also like to see Breece like really 100% healthy. I just feel like he hasn't, since the beginning of his rookie year, really been like 100% consistently. And look, that's part of the fear of running backs and paying running backs. Now, he's still young. He's going into his fourth year. You got him cost controlled. Maybe you franchise tag him at a certain point. But, once you get through 4, 5, 6 seasons, like, is he going to really be a second contract guy here? I don't know. But I do know I'm in no rush to trade him or move off of him, as some Jet fans are. I was like, just trade Breece Hall. We'll get a second back. We'll play Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. Like, are you sure you're getting a second rounder for him first? And Braylon Allen, like, I wish they used him more. He looked like Derrick Henry in week 2 and week 3, and then kind of did nothing the rest of the season. Davis had some nice moments, better as a change of pace back. I don't think you want him as your starting back. It's good to have 3 talented backs, which I think the Jets do. Go into next year with Breece, with Allen, with Davis, and be like, we're good at running back. And throw Breece the damn football more. They'll have a different scheme. Can they get him out in space? Could they not run so many damn tosses that are incredibly predictable where he's going to get hit for a 6-yard loss because someone misses their block or the entire defense knows it's coming? In a 17-game season, Breece needs to be an 1,000-yard back. He needs to be a guy who's getting 90 to 105 targets over the course of a season and should have like 600 yards receiving on top of his 1,000 yards rushing and 5 or 6 touchdowns in the passing game as well. So the big season hasn't come yet. It doesn't mean it won't come next year. It's too early to assume what kind of offense the Jets are going to run, but let's be a little more run heavy than they were last year. They were one of the most pass happy offenses in the NFL, which kind of insane considering the age of their quarterback and some of the struggles that he had. So I'm not writing off Breece yet. I think he's going to be a key player on the team the next 2 years. Beyond that, TBD. I also want to see a little more Allen, a little more Davis. Like just run the ball more in general and use all those guys more in the passing game, which, especially if you're not going to have Devontae Adams, is going to be a major need because who else do you have besides Garrett Wilson? The rest of that receiver depth chart is terrifying at the moment. So I think some Jet fans are a little too far down on Breece. I think it's okay to be like, he was underwhelming at times, but also a bit of a credit to him for playing through pain down the stretch in some meaningless games. I don't love that like as a longer term thing, but I'm sure the guys in the locker room notice that and appreciate that. I want to see his production if he's just being used a little smarter. And I just don't feel like he's ever consistently been used in a way that truly maximizes his ability. And if that could change with the right offensive coordinator, this is a guy who, again, should run for 1,100 yards, should have 600 yards receiving, and should be a game breaker. He still flashed it plenty of times last year. It's not like there weren't signs of it. You look at some of the plays he made in the like the Pittsburgh game on the check down late in the season, in the Miami game, we had a couple of like nice breakout runs, other ones dotted throughout the year where like he really got going. I'd like to see him a little better in short yardage, but you also have Braylon Allen for that. So I'm not being naive that Breece was perfect. He does need to work on his ball security. The lost fumbles have been a problem, right? Like it's just the fumbles in general. Like he has to be better tucking the football away. Had 5 total fumbles last year, only lost, 6 total fumbles last year, only lost 2. Of course, had the killer one week 1 right out of the gate. They had one against I believe it was the Colts that like really killed them in that game. That's got to get better. And so I think on the whole, it was like a B-, C+ season for him. I blame half of it on his usage and half of it on him. He's got to be a little better. The vision's got to be a little better. The ball security's got to be a little better. I still think he's going to be a massively critical part of the offense next year. And I'm in no rush to move off that dude. And I highly doubt Aaron Glenn is in any rush to move off that dude. He just watched David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. He's going to look at Hall. He's going to look at Allen. He's going to look at Davis and be like, give me all the backs that can, run inside, run outside, do things in the passing game. He will be here next year and he will be a big part of the offense, regardless of who the quarterback is, regardless of how every part of the offensive staff shakes out. So hang on to your Breece Hall stock for another year. I'm not saying he's going to be the offensive player of the year next year. I'm not saying he's going to be your first pick in fantasy. I am saying I am still confident he could be a 1,000-yard back in the NFL who can do a lot more in the passing game. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Sunday AM Coffee. Big day of football today. Big week of Jets news inevitably on the way. And we will talk to you soon.